All right, we got OG Fly in the building, man. Welcome to Prime Quality TV, man. How you doing? I appreciate you
Assalamu
pulling up.
alaikum, young brother. I'm doing pretty good.
I appreciate you, pulling up, man. Trying to set this up for a little minute, but
We've been waiting to do this for a minute.
yeah, but able to do it now. Like I said, I appreciate you pulling up, man.
I appreciate you, young brother.
I just kind of want to like cover your whole story, man. I know you born and raised in DC, correct?
Yeah, Washington, D.C.
Okay, so you was growing up in like the with the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, I was born in the 50s, but the 60s and 70s is when I come out of the house, come out in the street.
So what was it like growing up in DC around them times?
It was kind of rough. You can imagine, man, in the 50s, when I was born, we couldn't go in certain parts of Maryland and Virginia in the 50s, and was I don't know if you heard about I don't know how old you are, but back in the days we couldn't go in white gas stations and drink out of water fountains, and it was so racist back then. When we used to go over Maryland to shop at shopping centers, if we go up in Oxon Hill, certain parts of Virginia and Maryland, they'll run us out of there. So it was kind of rough, but where I come from is Southeast DC. I mean, it was poverty, but it was all black. Close knit families, and you know what I mean. Your neighborhoods, everybody got along, and you can imagine, man, how it was like when Malcolm and them was cutting up in the '60s, and when he come out of penitentiaries, on the nation. So it was more pro-black than anything in DC. You know what I mean? Uh, I had a good childhood. I had a good life. You know what I mean? But we pretty much, man, just had to learn how to survive with little or nothing. You know what I mean? Growing up on food stamps, welfare, all that. But I come out neighborhoods, man, where it was strong neighborhoods.
Like what made Southeast to you like around that time?
Southeast was different than Northwest because, it's four quadrants: Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, Northwest. And each each neighborhood represented where you came from. We couldn't go up Northwest unless we was going to family's house or we had relatives. They had to go straight to their, you know what I mean? And now I got one of the biggest families in Washington, D.C. My grandmother lived in Northwest. Most of my cousins lived in Northwest. So when my mother took all us up Northwest to my grandmother's and my aunt's house, I befriended a lot of people in Northwest because my cousins and them friends, met me. They say our cousin so and so, he from Southeast. Then I had cousins in Northeast, you know what I mean? But you couldn't go in them neighborhoods unless you was going to see somebody or you had friends that you was going to see. Because if you go in the neighborhood, you wasn't from there, and anybody know you, they gonna take your coat and your shoes and rob you. But Southeast, all the different neighborhoods stood out for different reasons. You know what I mean? But Southeast was raggedy, man. Southeast was like more poverty to me than any other part of DC back in the days.
What was it like? What were you like as a kid? Like how were you like kid wise?
Curious. I was curious. I was curious about life, but I uh I always been a guy, man, that wanted to belong with a certain type of crew or a certain type of friends. You know what I mean? But my mother spoiled me, always dressed nice. You know what I mean? And uh, on my mother's side of the family was all hustlers, gangsters, dope fiends, drug addicts, jailbirds, ex-convicts. You know what I mean? On my father's side, my father had three brothers. They was all working class. And I had told a guy not too long ago, I was more prone to come up in the streets with my mother's side of the family because, like I was just telling, when we go up northwest to my grandmother's and my aunts and uncles' house, you around hustlers, you around drug addicts, you around street people, thugs, and you know what I mean? And I was curious about that. I told you I always been curious. I was curious about what's this lifestyle about? You know what I mean? So I was more intrigued, man, to follow the footsteps of my family members that was in the streets, you know. Every time somebody come out of jail, we celebrate them. What he was locked up for? You know what I mean? So I kind of knew where I was gonna go, what path I was gonna go on, cause I was interested in that lifestyle on my mother's side. My grandfather was a gangster, dope fiend, jailbird, but he was well respected in D.C. I mean, he had a big name, 'cause we had a big family, you know.
Was it? Did you try it for as long as you could to kind of like stay out of that lifestyle, or was this something that was kind of always there?
No, because now remember, if I'm going up northwest to my relatives and all them street people, so when I come back over southeast with my little friends, I'm bringing it back to southeast. And then some of my friends and my peers that I growed up with in southeast, their older brothers in them is in and out of jail. And like some of my brothers, I might say, what Linwood locked up for? And Linwood will come home, and when I was 10 years old, they broke in the store and they held me up to climb through the ceiling to come and open the door. So we broke in the store. And I said, man, what I'm gonna get? You know what I mean? They gave me $2 and gave me a jacket. But man, I was fascinated. You know what I mean? The old dudes had me follow them, you know what I mean? So all we want to do is hold you up, put you through the roof, open the door, come down, open the door for us. Wasn't no lounge cameras, all that back in the 60s, you know what I mean? It's like wasn't no cameras and internet, nothing, you know what I mean? So, man, I was fascinated. I went out with the old times, man, we broke in the store. You know what I mean? This what was so intriguing to me coming home. See, back then, the most violence you get was a street fight after school. Say me and you go to school together, right? And we get in the skirmish on the playground, right? And the older guys might say, man, y'all got to fight at 3 o'clock after school. A street rumble was the only violence you seen back in the day. Wasn't no stabbings, wasn't no shootings, wasn't none of that. What man, this school shooting, I just learned about this stuff when I was in prison. You know, people, them youngsters taking pistols to school, shooting. But you know, that's mostly Europeans, and then black people don't do that. But back then in the days, the most violence you see in the neighborhood was a fight. You know what I mean? And like I've just said, you had close knit families and neighborhoods, and everybody got along. We didn't lock our doors at night. We kept the doors open all night. Uh, we used to sleep in lawn chairs at night. You know what I mean? Everybody hung out back in the days. Uh, so it wasn't no violence. Never heard of a murder. Never heard of a. Most you might hear about a stab and somebody got stuck with a knife or something. But those was older guys, not my crew. Not the guys I was growing up with in my generation. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that.
So how when did you notice that, or when did you think that all that started to change?
Well, when Martin Luther King got killed in April '68, I never forget the old timers in my neighborhood. Martin Luther King got killed. And we knew who Martin Luther King was by going to school. But I never seen or experienced this type of racism. So the old guys told everybody in school, everybody meet up. And the old guy named Joe Murray lived in my neighborhood. He hijacked a bus and took a bus, and all us got on the bus. And we started throwing bricks at all the white people driving up the street. And then we looted. We went in all the stores. And, we was taking TVs and clothes and whatever we could take. But all the black owned stores in my neighborhood said, hey man, don't come up. So everybody said, can't go in the black stores because we knew them anyhow. You know what I mean? I like to told we was on welfare, so if we ain't got no money, we just go to Mr. So-and-so, can we get a loaf of bread and some eggs and milk to the first? Yeah. Tell your mother, yo, she owe me $5. All the black liquor stores, the cleaners, all them black owned in my neighborhood. But when we was looting, and rioting and stuff, that's when I first experienced true racism and violence. That's when the violence kicked in. Like I just told you, the oldest guys told everybody, throw bricks at every white car come up here. So your mindset changed. Your mindset changed that you black and your war and your beef was the white people because they said a white guy assassinated Martin Luther King. So me growing up in a neighborhood where I idolized the guys that could fight, I idolized the guy that was doing wrong, hustling, doing this and that. So once we was told we had to do this to every white, I'm saying from now on, I know who my enemy is. And that's when I experienced some real violence toward another race. You know what I mean? And I started going to jail as a juvenile. So when you're in jail, you learn from the older guys in jail. Jail is really like an education. The same way people go to public schools and graduate to junior high, then college. The same thing with prison. You go to school, go to prison, a juvenile. You're in the youth joints. Guys your age, then get older, you go to another juvenile joint with more serious guys and elder guys, and you learn it. So when you hear about a guy say, he got a pistol charge. For real, he got a pistol charge? Give me a pistol. He got a bank robbery. He got this. So you learning more about criminal activities by being around guys who did stuff that you never did or experienced. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, the violence to me came when I was 15. And a guy, man, that I looked up to was my man. He took me on the cable with him. He said, man, we're gonna do this. Well, it's all right. And once we did it, I said, wow, I done this. You know what I mean? So it gets in your blood. It makes you feel like I ain't got no problem doing it if I have to do it. But now I really didn't, to be honest with you, Zach, I really didn't feel like I can commit some violence or harm to another person is when I got my first adult conviction. Because in the juvenile, you don't see no stabbings and killings. But when you get your first adult conviction, you ran dudes with murder, rank robberies, killing, so forth and so on. So you have to adopt the mindset. Before I let somebody do something to me, I do it to them. You know, it just is a form, is another way of life. You know what I mean? But you told at a young age, if you go to jail, you can't let nobody do this to you. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't accept this. You can't let nobody rape you. Can't let nobody take your food, take your butt. You know what I mean? Take advantage of you. So then I always could fight. You know, I always could fight. So I ain't never thought about nobody doing nothing to me. But if you around some guys that's committing violence and that's part of your crew or your friends, you gonna go with 'em.
How did your family kind of like react to who you was becoming at that time?
My mother did everything she could to try to circumvent and stop me from going that route. But her father is a gangster. Her brother is a gangster. You know, her other brother, my other uncle, he got killed in a robbery. My other uncle, he was in Alcatraz, you know, with Bumpy Johnson. He was a gangster. All my uncles was dope boys or gangsters. And a lot of my elder cousins, man, was killers. You know what I mean? So she knew it was in my blood because it was in her blood. My mother was vicious. You know what I mean? But now my father, I told you, him and his brothers come from working class, educated, you know what I mean, working men. He spoiled me, but he spoiled me in a different way. Whatever I needed, he gave it to me. We used to have talks. Uh, then I go move with him, stay with him. But I go back home to my mother because I was already accustomed to that lifestyle. You know what I mean? But they tried. They tried to, you know, they tried to direct me to another path, man, but it just didn't work. My mind was made up.
So you talked about when Dr. King getting assassinated. That was kind of like the start for of the violence change.
That changed my mindset about life and our people and how people felt about us as a black people because he was a leader for black people. You know what I mean? Now think about this, Zach. All of his team, Merrin Burr, Andrew Young, Jesse Jackson, all of his loot, Abernathy, all his men went on into politics. Merrin Burr became the mayor of D.C. Andrew Young, ambassador, mayor of Atlanta. Uh, uh, Jesse Jackson started Rainbow Coalition Push. So all of them went in different directions, but they was leaders. You know what I mean? And but nobody could fill Dr. King's footsteps. But his team and his men went off into politics, and Merrin Burr became one of the biggest people in D.C. I used to work for him when I was 14. He started an organization called Pride for young people. We used to work for Merrin Burr. And then, you know, they got streets named after him. They call him the Mayor of Light. They loved him in this city because he loved his city. So, the more you, Zach, get accustomed to the street life, the more you gonna venture off in the one path. You know what I mean? So I don't know what your generation was like coming up, but in the '60s, man, I mean, the music was different. You know, the hustling game was different. We come up with the Temptations, Four Tops, and Stevie Wonder. You know what I mean? So Sly Stone, and so our music is telling us what we represent. You know what I mean? Pop culture was different. So man, and I told you the education in prison it take you to another level every time you come home and go back to prison, you know. And I think, brother, that Washington D.C. man was a melting pot because you're the nation's capital. You know what I mean? And just like New York, different St. Louis, Kansas City, Detroit, Philly, all the major cities back in the 60s was elevated to another level. You know what I mean? And I think that man, each generation is different. I'm learning your generation. You know, I'm learning how to adapt to this world, man, because I did 50 years in prison. You know what I mean? And everything changed. The whole world changed. So I'm a dinosaur, man. I'm an old timer that's just trying. You know, I'm just an old line trying to make it in this concrete jungle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So how was it? Because DC is known for being chocolate city. Like, cause and being in the '60s, how prevalent was that title? Like, was it really like chocolate city back then?
It was Chocolate City, and everything was black. We always had a black mayor. You know what I mean? City council was black. Uh, our city councilwoman Wilhelmina Rollout lived right around the street. So you in touch with all the leaders in the city, but everything was black. Ben's Chili Bowl has always been a cornerstone of the city. Bill Cosby, Ripper Franklin, James Brown, everybody went to Ben's Chili Bowl when it come to the city because that was the hottest spot. You know what I mean? All the pimps and the dope boys used to eat there. When we come off the porch, we say, you got to go up to the Chili Bowl because it was a mainstay as far as it. If you want to see somebody, you got to go to Ben's Chili Bowl. You know what I mean? If me and you hang out and say, man, you seen so and so, he be up Ben's Chili Bowl every night, 12 o'clock, midnight. He might be in there with some hoes, some dope boys, you know. But it was Chocolate City because we was black owned and we was black, man. This was the real. Now I think we in Boston or something. All these crackers on stuff a lot. I ain't gonna crack. All all these Euros that came to the city. When I came home, I said, "What?" You know, I'm drive. I said, "Man, where we in Boston somewhere?" All after Man Bird man left office and they started getting different mayors and they didn't love the city like he did. They didn't take care of the city like he did. You know, and you got different mayors in the Republicans and the whites in Congress. Once they took hold of the city and started running the city, the mayor had to do what they wanted him to do. You know what I mean? And it started eventually moving the blacks out to Oxon Hill and Mandover and Alexandria. They started moving away. This mayor we got now, this lady, she done made it so bad for blacks in certain neighborhoods. All the whites done moved in because they don't have affordable housing for the blacks. You know what I mean? But it was Chocolate City. I mean, not only was it Chocolate City, man, I'm talking about the only whites we used to see were school teachers that work in the schools or working in the city. And when they get off work, go home, they go back to Virginia and Maryland. Now they live in the city. They live in spots, man, where certain blacks couldn't even walk back in the days because of the crime. I mean, blacks were scared. Man, you see whites everywhere. And it's just a sign of the times, how things have changed. You know what I mean?
You kind of touched on it earlier. You was talking about Marion Barry, but I wanted to ask, like, especially somebody who you was there during the time. Why do you think he's so beloved in the city of DC, and like what made him so special to DC?
Because when he came to the city, he had a plan and he was smart. And he started an organization called Pride Incorporated. and he hired young guys, 14. If you had a Social Security card, social, you can get a job. I was 14. And in every part of the city, we used to pick up trash. And it was called squads. We had squads like Southeast. We was early 32. And we had a leader, a guy named Ted was our leader of our squad. And we used to go around the neighborhood picking up trash, cleaning up the neighborhood. And we get a check every, I don't know if it was every week or every 2 weeks, but a real paycheck. So Mary Bird gave us a chance to make some money. He gave us and he hired ex-convicts. He hired hustlers. So everybody used to say, man, you gotta get a job for Pride, man, Mary Bird, man. When it was up 16th Street, the headquarters, 16th and U. And then as things evolved and people started to learn this guy, he started learning the whole city. All the hustlers fell in love with him. All the dope boys, all the killers. And this dude can go anywhere in the city, you know what I mean? And they gonna roll the cover up, Marenberg up in here. He used to come through the go-go's. You know what I mean? Everybody loved him. And they took care of him. So he started so many different programs. The more, especially, he started off as a city councilman. Then he ran for mayor. But the mayor run this city. It says, because we don't have a governor. So he hired ex-convicts. He hired, you know, your father or your uncle or somebody say, hey, you want me to call Mary Brown? I can get you a job. Everybody loved him. That's why they call him the mayor for life. You know what I mean? And they just named the street after him last year. They changed Good Hope Road to Murray Avenue. But everybody loved him because he was just like us. You know what I mean? You might go and marry, like I was just saying about Ben Chiller, but you might go and Ben Chiller, Murray over there. They got a place on Martin Luther King Avenue called Busboys and Ports. They said that was one of his favorite hangouts. Me and my daughter was down there eating 2 weeks ago. They got a room called Murray Bird Room. They got his pictures. Cause he was reachable and touchable. And he got on was and the dope boys taking care of him. He ain't gotta spend no money. I'm gonna ask you a question. How come every time a black person in power be in a position where he can lead black people, the government want to get rid of you?
They feel like that's a threat.
That's my point. They wanted Malcolm dead. They wanted Martin dead. Wanted George Jackson dead. Wanted the Black Panthers, Murray Bird. They are not going to allow a brother or sister that has so much power in this country to lead our people. And just think about it, man. Anybody that got a voice that's black and got power and that can lead us, the establishment's not going to allow. You know what I mean? And this is what he was in this city. And that's why they spent millions and millions and millions of dollars just to set him up. I told you he can go on the go and everybody's Murray there. And the hustlers might say, Murray, man, I need something. What you need, Murray? You know what I mean? He was well loved, man. He was one of us.
So at the beginning of the 70s, we talked about how, a lot of the, political leaders, Malcolm, MLK, Fred Hampton, a lot of the Black Panthers
Fred
got
Hampton.
killed.
Fred
Like,
Hampton.
what was it like once the turn of the set, like once the 70s started in DC?
The turn of this to me was in 71 You ever heard of Pam Grier?
Yeah,
Isaac Hayes,
yeah,
Superfly,
yeah,
The Mac?
yeah.
When they start making all them black movies in 70, 71, the Superfly and the Maddie, guys one of the Cadillac and Eldorado like in the movies, like Superfly. You know what I mean? Pam Grier was our first black sex symbol in my generation. It had some before them, Earth Kid and them back in the day. But in my generation, Pam Grier, Tamara Dobson, Cleopatra Jones. So the black exploitation movies gave my generation a different mindset. Man, I got to get me a Cadillac. I got to get one of them Jones. Did you see Superfly? You know, and they glamorize the hustlers on there snorting coke and having freaks and killing. You know what I mean? So you always want to aspire to be like somebody that you admire if you're in that lifestyle or if you glamorize that lifestyle. You know what I mean? So that changed dudes in my generation, our mindset and our mentality was, man, we doing this little petty stuff. We gotta get some money. And when I came home in 71, the dope game is power and big. You know what I mean? And you see the movie American Gangster with Denzel,
Denzel, yeah.
Frank Lucas.
Hmm.
So the older guys that I come up with at 68, 69, that's in the dope game and selling dope, they want to get bigger in the dope game. And I was introduced to the dope game as far I always knew about it in 68. But in 71, I was introduced to the dope game and selling dope. And in that dope game, young brother, you have so many different facets to the game. So if you're in the dope game, a killing gonna get involved. You know what I mean? Uh, uh, it's power in that game. It's so much power, you know, because you're taking care of people. You know, money and drugs is power. And so guys my age that come home, they start robbing banks. So if you're gonna be a bank robber, you're gonna be a stick up boy, you're gonna be a killer or a dope boy. And we watching these Superfly, the Mac, and you know what I mean? So the older guys that I come up under, what I looked up to, they in that dope game, you know. And I wanted to follow suit. So if they giving me some dope to sell, and I'm bringing back money to them, and I'm buying clothes and taking care of my girl, and your whole mindset changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you come home, are you still in Southeast at this point?
Yeah, I never left Southeast. You know what I mean? My father lived in Northwest. I told you I stayed with him for a minute, but my stomping ground, my home base is Southeast. I represent South. Even when you go to jail as a juvenile or an adult, whatever part of the city you're from, you gotta represent that. And see, when the Go-Go's and stuff started, they used to beef at the Go-Go. Southeast beef with Northeast, Southwest, Northwest. I heard they used to have rumbles and then it started killing. You know what I mean? But that's different generation that came after me. But you have to represent what part of town you're from. And they say even the go-go bands, Southeast better than Northeast, Southwest better than. So you have to represent what part of town you're from. You know what I mean? Because certain parts of the city couldn't go to other parts of the city unless you knew somebody or you had friends over there. Remember I told you that? Yeah. But I never left Southeast.
What was like being in juvenile like when you were going at the time?
It was like, man, it was like a vacation. Not the first time. The first time you lose paranoid because you were your first time away from home. But you meet guys and you befriend guys is the education. Cause you always got some elder guys that's still there. And so if somebody there from my neighborhood said, guess who just came down here? Little so and so. Little something contrary. That's my little homie. What you doing down here? So on a visit, they'll see my mother and sister and them come to see me and hey Miss Gavin. Oh, let me have my son. Yeah, Miss Gavin. You know what I mean? So you learn the ropes. Then after you there for a while, and another guy from your neighborhood come, you gotta teach them the ropes. So it wasn't fun, but it wasn't bad. You know what I mean? But like everything, you learn the ropes. You get bad, they beat you with a paddle or put you in an isolation room. And now Maple Glen, they used to box every Friday. Every Friday, got Mr. Smith in recreation. Just let everybody box. So if you in one college, I'm in another college, I said, I'm gonna fight Zach Friday, Mr. Smith. You wanna fight him? Zach, you wanna fight him? I'll fight him. You know what I mean? So that's the guys that want to box or curious about box. So you might learn how to box. You might be one of the best basketball players in the college, or one of the best football players, or ping pong player. But you have to be able to hold your own. But once your name start being established, and you might get a reputation for whatever. Like I said, it might be basketball. He best basketball player in the jump. Shorty can fight. He can fight. Fly can fight. You know. So when you go home, and if you commit another crime and come back, you consider the old time. Guess who just came back? So you one of the elders now. Is the education, and you elevate your crime. And the older you get, you go to more serious junks. You know what I mean?
So at what point did you start, or when did you like first start going to like adult prison, or when did you go to adult prison?
In 72 was my first adult prison.
And that was in Lorton.
Yeah.
What was the reason for you going there?
Me and a guy named Lee Curtis, rest in peace, Lee Curtis. We he broke in a house and I had a pistol. And we was in another friend of mine's house. And I told you I was selling dope in 71. And a friend of mine named David Crump, who grew up in the juvenile joints with me, he came around there to buy some dope. And I showed him my pistol. And my brother-in-law, James and James and Brad, they said, man, stop playing with the pistol. And I shot David in his head by mistake, playing. They said, man, you shot the man's head. And we panicked, and we was trying to wrap his head up with towels and stuff. So I said, man, we got to take you to the hospital, Dave. You know what I mean? So we took him to the hospital. He told his father I did it. And they called the police. And they came around my mother's house and got me. And then they locked me and Lee Curtis up for the burglary. And I had to, they didn't charge me with timber to kindle. They just wanted the pistol. They charged me for the pistol because it was an accident. And that was my first adult conviction. Burglary, first degree burglary and pistol.
How long were you in Lorton for that?
I stayed in about 9 months. Cause see, back then, they'll give you a sentence called a UFAC, called 60 days or 6 months, or 6 years. You couldn't do more than 6 years. But anytime after 60 days, you can come home. And then, see, prison was different back then, Zach, because they had so many programs. They had people, man, doing life, going in the street, playing ball, and going to school. But I was over Lord New Center. I wasn't over the big Lord. But this was adult prison, and man, I worked my way out there and came home in 9 months. Came home June 15, 73.
When you get out, is there are you still got the do you, or is it like anything that makes you go maybe I want to stay away from this lifestyle
No,
or
I wanted to box because my best friends and dudes I growed up in the juvenile joints, when I got down Lord Newson, I seen them dudes in the ring. I said, good God Almighty. And Sugar Ray Leonard used to come down and train. He was an amateur back then, him and Derek Holmes. But they was coming over Lord. They wasn't coming over youth center. But youth center would go over Big Lord too. And the boxing team is going in the street to fight. I wasn't going in the street with them, but my friends is going in the street. And Wilbur Cook, man, one of my best friends. We've been knowing each other since '63. He was one of the baddest fighters out of DC. Shorty could fight, Zach. I mean, could fight. Anthony Peachtree, Larry Glenn, Lodge, all these dudes, they fighting in the Golden Gloves. I said, good God, why they fighting like that? So I used to go down to the gym and train with them, and Wilbur and Larry and Lodge Perry and them used to put the gloves on and Peachtree. And these guys that I come up with. But when I seen how they progressed and how good they was fighting, going in the street, fighting, man, people from the street. And I wanted to fight. So when I came on the street, Zach, it's in my blood. Cause I started fighting at 12 on the street. But when I came home, my friends are sticking up. And this 73, I told her I started selling dope at 71. In 73, my buddies are sticking up. These is guys that used to steal cars and break in house. Now they sticking up. Stuff's constantly changed in that lifestyle and the hustle. You know what I mean? So you don't know which way. We know we wasn't gonna be no pimps because we wasn't thinking like that. And I got derailed, and came on one of Saturday, Zach. I never forget it. Man, my woman went around on Atlantic Street to some of my buddy's house. They said, "Man, you came home on a Saturday." Yeah, man, I came home today, and they taking me around. Everybody giving me money. They said, "Sam, we out here sticking up." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Man, we taking everything." I said, "Well, I'm gonna go with y'all then." And a buddy of mine I grew up with since I was 5 years old named James Campbell. I was surprised how this dude was. He was a vicious stick up boy, and I said, James sticking up. Olio, Laddie Otis, Black Otis, Laddie O, a brother no James Mars. He used to go with me sometimes. Different dudes in different neighborhoods, but these guys is serious about that, Zach. I said, I'm with y'all. So I went and got a rifle from a dude named Billy Valentine. He gave it to me. He sold it to me. And I said, I got a rifle, man. He said, that's all we need. He had a little pistol. We ain't had all that Iraq stuff y'all had in y'all generation. We ain't had none of that AK-40. Shotgun was the biggest thing we had, you know what I mean? Had a little 38, 44, 357. So I got me a rifle of that. And I took the role as a leader because I felt like I had more heart than them guys. And we started sticking up.
how long were you doing that for?
I came home June 15th, And I came back to jail September 19th, 1973. I stayed out 3 months. And I did 50 years.
So, kind of touching on that, like, what can you talk about what happened that led to the 50
Yeah,
50 year
yeah,
sentence?
sure I can. Well, what happens is that, boy, I told we sticking up. And we robbed dope boys, numberback, we robbed street establishments, going to Safeways and jewelry stores. And some of my brothers from other parts of town, they robbing banks, and some of my neighbors, but I ain't going no bank. But I'm robbing all the dope boys in the city. And a older guy that I met when I was about 15, now I was 16. I met him in my sister's house, my older sister's house. I ain't really meet him. I was sleeping on the couch. He came in the door, Zach, and she said, "That's my little brother." That's the first time I ever seen him. The second time I seen him, I was up northwest of one of my cousin's house at 71. And him and some other guys came in there, and they said, "Man, me and him was ready to fight. Cause we was, I see coming up with all my drills. I said, man, y'all come here. We was ready to fight." And my cousin said, "Man, it's my cousin. It's my young cousin, man." And my cousin was tall. And third time I seen him when I first went over DC jail. My first time in DC jail as an adult. And he was working in the kitchen. And he was with two other guys named Roughhouse and Cadillac Smith Hill. They said, "Man, this rabbit's little cousin. This this rabbit little cousin, this one like a box." And these two guys they introduced me to is the most two notorious dudes out of DC. They got some of the biggest reputations in Washington, DC and Lord. And I remember Roughhouse said, "Oh yeah, this one can fight, huh? Yeah, this rabbit little cousin." And we shook hands. And the guy said, "Man, I'm gonna bring you a bag of commissary, some cosmetics, some food." I said, "Okay." I got transferred to Lawton. In July, I was driving uptown, Zach, and I seen him walking up the street. Pulled up, I said, "Hey, you get on?" He said, "I came home yesterday." I said, "Get in." I drove him uptown, Zach. I said, "Where you going?" He said, "I'm going uptown, see some guys." And I drove him uptown. We picked two guys up. He ain't had no money. I said, "I'm gonna get you some money." We went over Northeast. I robbed the store and gave him some money. And I dropped him off, him and the other. I said, "Man, I'm sticking up." I said, "You want to do something tomorrow?" He said, "Come pick me up." I went and picked him up, Zach. Took him with me. I took him over Southie. And he knew some old timers that was selling double robbed. And we got in the shootout. I said, "This old timer guy's so hard." I said, he was fine, Jack. So he said, "Man, I want you to pick me up tomorrow and take me down to Lawton because I got to go pick up some dope. I take it to my man." I said, "All right." Picked him up, Zach. Eon told this story 100 times, so have I, because we tried to explain it. I picked him up, Zach. We go over there, and I fell asleep in the chair. A guy let us in. When the two people came home that we went to see, I'm asleep. I get up next morning. I say, "Hey man, let's go. Get the dope so we can go." He went back and room and asked for the dope. So when he came back, I said, "Man, we might as well just take all this. Little I said, man, let's take it. And I took it. I said, ask her who they selling dope for. We gonna get to whoever that supply is. And I gotta be honest with you, young brother, because it's on record. I said, take her in there and ask her. Stay in the room too long, black. You know what I mean? But I ain't thinking nothing creepy or freakish. I ain't, you know. But when he bring her out, I said, what she say? I see the look on her face in the dude's face, and he said, she ain't say nothing. I said, well, ask Barbara. Barbara is his friend, who's his buddy that we supposed to get the dope from, take her in the room. I hear a gunshot. I said, man, what the? This wasn't part of the plans, eh? It wasn't none of this supposed to happen. You know what I mean? I said, man, what? We didn't panic, but I'm disoriented because I'm so discombobulated, Zach, because this thing went haywire. I mean, this. I said, man, what? And I heard her screaming. So I said, man, you gotta get out of here. I tied the dude up. Now the people he took in the room, he said, she going with us. Zach, I don't even know that this is a kidnapping. That's how, you know what I mean? And this old time, he about 13 years older than me. I'm 19 or 20. He about 32, 33. And I told you I met him at the jail through Rough House. So I said, man, what the? He said, man, let's go. Go over one of my friends' house. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Darlene opened the door. She said, what you doing over there? I said, I gotta catch a cab, man. We gotta catch a cab. She said, call one. And recorded cab, went over where I was staying in Southeast. Staying with a sister, older sister, man. My oldest brother-in-law used to go with. I was staying with her and her daughters. And I woke her up. I'll never forget. She said, what's wrong, babe? I said, man, something jumped off. I said, I'm back in the bed with. So I tell him, have her call and find out if her friend lived. She called home and her brother said, where you at? She said, I'm all right. Where you at? I'm all right. I'll be home later on. Did she live? She in D.C. General. Now everything, I'm getting my senses. I'm calming down, you know. And I said, I gotta go change clothes. I gotta come out these clothes, man. Go up my woman's house, or go in my mother's house, change clothes, go to my woman, give her some money. Come back down there. When I get back down there, Sylvia said, baby, when you left, they went in one of the girls' room. I said, what? Open the door. I said, man, get the stuff out of here. What you doing in there? By this time, I'm mad, Zach. I'm mad. You know what I mean? I said, come on, man. She gotta go. I said, she gotta go, man. She know where I live at. She know my name. She know my woman's name. I said, come on, man. We got hold up, son. We got her. We all right. I said, man, she got to go. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. So I want to take her for a DuPont part, man. And it is slim. Hold up, man. I got some other people we can go pick up. I know they gonna show us some people we can rob. They know everybody uptown. If we gonna go do that, then I gotta take care of this. Now bear in mind now, I'm 19 or 20. I'm 20. all these people 10, 12, 13 years old. I mean, these old drug addicts and dope fiends. But I'm streetwise. I'm savvy and I'm a leader. So, everything calmed down as far as me realizing what I done got myself into. So we go pick the other people up. She take us uptown. We robbed 3 people that night. Guys, the dope came back. I said, come on, man, that's it. Let me take you this so we can get this out of the way. Zach, it's my word to Allah. She was so shrewd. She was so street. He tricked her. She say, don't let the dude kill him, man. I ain't gonna tell. I've been hanging with you all day. We all right. She's shrewd enough to save her. She said, don't let the young dude kill him, man. I heard him say I gotta go. I said, man, let me take her in the alley and carry her, man. She said, man, I ain't gonna let you kill her. I said, either you let me kill her or I'm gone. Diane, I rolled out. So I went back, stayed with the people who we was with her. I stayed with her that night. Next morning, Jack, I get a call. He locked up. She tricked her. He said, leave town, man. For
Th-
what?
This is him calling you?
Yeah, he over
Okay.
there. He called me next morning. Told you I left him that night. I went back up to those people I was staying that night. I said, let me stay with you tonight. I said, what's wrong? I ain't tell her what. I said, I left them, man. They gonna do something else. So when I went back home, who I told we went down to her house, I'm down there, and he called and said, man, I'm over DC jail, leave town. I said, leave town? He said, man, I'm over the jail. She tricked him, Zach. And I ain't leave town because I ain't had nowhere to go. I ain't have enough money. I ain't nowhere to go. So I'm going a wild stick-up spree. I'm robbing because I know I'm on the run. I'm finally joining them. You know what I mean? I'm robbing people. And what happens is that they start looking for me, going to my mother's house, riding around the neighborhood, asking people, y'all seen her? And y'all seen her, let us know. And I'm committing more crimes. And I'm living on the edge. Because sometimes you can feel, man, your time's running short. Either they're going to kill you or they're going to get you. So me and my brother-in-law and another buddy of mine named Lenny Crawford here, who robbed this joint. And my best friend who worked there to set it up, he called my daughter's mother the next day and say, tell him, man, they left a safe in the trunk. Come pick me up. This is my best friend. We brought it since 12 years old. When I'm hiding out in Maryland, Zach, I got a good spot I'm hiding at, right? So he tricked me to come out. I go pick him up. You go find a car that we took in the rob, and there really was a trunk in there. I mean, a safe in the trunk. Take the safe, go up his brother's house. I said, man, I'm beat. I gotta lay down there. I get up, Zach. I said, come on, man, let's go. Get back. I gotta go back to Old Merle because I don't want to stay in the city. You know what I mean? He said, man, why we up there? Just go uptown and get something to eat. I said, man, it's like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, Zach. Long story short, I said, come on, man, let me tell you get something to eat, then we gone. He want to go to Mile Long and stuff. Police told me to pull over. I ain't pull over. I said, man, take that shotgun and blow that back of that window out, man, so we can make a run for it. He trembled. Police pull up on his side, cause I'm driving. See him pulling the shotgun out. Put the pistol in my head, said, pull over in there. Cause he on the motorcycle, public. So to get us. I got a Philadelphia driver license, Cam Robson. I said, Lord. Then they, Lord. I said, Lord, look, I got a juvenile ID saying I'm 17. If they let me go, I'm going to come get you out on bond tomorrow. Don't say nothing. He told the people who I was, and they punished me for that. Man, they beat me so bad. I was almost got him. Because they wrote me up as a juvenile, was going to send me overseas home, juvenile junk, and my woman was going to come get me. But he said, he on the run, his name's such and such. And they broke my arms out. And so I'm charged with the armed robbery, because from the car and the safe and I'm charged with that. So once they found who I was, all them armed robbers came down. Armed robber, armed robber. The case me and the old guy, they ain't got me for that yet. So I'm over DC jail fighting all these armed robbers. They throwing some out. You know, the drug dealers, they ain't gonna tell. They ain't. But, little Safeway robbers, this. And man, they constantly throwing charges out. So the old guy say, man, watch out for such for people because they related to them people. Be careful. So 3 months later, I get the indictment. Armed robbery, kidnapping, armed rape, assault with intent to kill while armed, first degree burglary. I say, man, what the? So when we go to court, I said, Sean, why you do that, man? He said, man, it was consensual. Come on, Zach. Ain't, come on, let's be real. I said, man, what? I said, man, we just got to fight it. You know what I mean? I ain't going to tell no. You know what I mean? That it's the talk of the city. It's the talk of the jail. It's the talk of Florida. Man, guess who got indicted? When you have certain type of crimes, man, there's a stigma that goes with them. You know what I mean, Zach? And but in our favor was these are street people that everybody know. And I found out later on that the girl he did that to, her cousin is one of my best friends. The girl who I stayed with come up with all my family. And they saying, man, we ain't telling on them people, man. So the dude whose woman got shot, he said, man, I'm going to come to court for y'all. It was an accident. He ain't mean to do it. You know what I mean? So we getting our defense together. And remember this 73, right? 74. I get 8 years for another charge, for one of the armed robberies. I took a plea. 75, I took a plea to 9 years to another charge. That other case ain't never come to court. Whether they drug addicts or dope fiends or not, certain things happen in the case it shouldn't happen. That, you know what I mean? You can't, it is what it is. So I get 6 months short. Cause I ain't have a 2 to 8 and 3 to 9. I supposed to come home September 76. March 76, 3 years after the case, it took us to trial for that. And they offered me a copy 15 years. They said, man, just take a copy to 5 to 15 for robbery, because they don't want you. They know you was young. They feel like you was following this older guy, and we know what he did. We know what you did. You wasn't in the room with him. I said, man, I ain't taking no copy no 15 years. I'm going home in 6 months. Because bear in mind, they've been telling us for 3 years, we ain't coming to court to tell them we ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? But I didn't know, Zach, till my lawyer told me they had been catching cases themselves in the 3 years I've been in. Drug charge, prostituting charges, stealing, boosting charges. But these are street people, and they well known in the street. You know, they're whores though, and they know my family and friends. And they said, "Tell Fly he all right, we ain't coming." So they wound up convincing him to tell. They said, "Man, y'all got to tell on the old dude, man." They said, "We ain't gonna hurt the young dude." Go to trial, and they did everything they could to help me. I got found guilty of aiding and abetting. That means I'm in the house as a commissioner of a crime. If me and you in the house, you in one room, bagging crack and cutting dope, and I'm in the other room, if they bust the house, I'm gonna get charged with you. You know what I mean? So they found me getting the aiding and abetting, being in the commission of a crime, and gave me life. Gave me life, that. And so I go from 6 months of grade, come home to getting life. Or the kidnapping, the armed robbery, the rape, the burglary, assault with the temper kill. I give it back in 1985. I was great, come home. You know, and they did what they could to help me get out. But the appeals court took my life sentence back. I'm under investigation for murder from Lord. Man, the boxing people wrote letters saying, man, he gonna fight up Atlantic City. The ward wrote letters for me. The director of the Department of Correction came to court for me because I turned pro in 81 in prison. And so the prosecutor said, Jan, he investigating for murder. You can't let him go. Black judge named Annis Wagner, she said, I told Kendall Monday, I wasn't gonna let him go. I can't let him go, Jan. She said, tell him file the time cut. I'm gonna give him another time cut. But it took the 75 back, gave him 45. Then 88, she cut it some more. So now I can see some daylight. I got a chance to go home. They ain't never cut this time. And when your reputation is grown and your legacy is grown, you become a high profile prisoner. You know, so I'm known as one of the best fighters ever came out of DC. You know, I'm the first guy to turn pro in Lawton. I got Murad Muhammad, who was one of the biggest box promoters in the world, promoting me. I met him through his brother Shaheed Muhammad, who was a good friend of mine. And I got so much support, Zach. You know what I mean? And people are trying to get me out. All my buddies that wasn't dead is getting rich. So they taking care of me. You know what I mean? And once you get in that dope game, and then these ex-stick-up boys that's in the dope game now, and dope is plentiful in the 80s. You know what I mean? And I'm flooding the prison with it. And they also is staying on top of me and getting in my ears. Man, you got to slow down so we can get you out here. We got money. We can pay for some lawyers, man. But I was so institutionalized, Zach, from growing up in prison, I'm not realizing that I got a chance to get out. Because, I mean, I'm doing life. Man, you know what I mean? And then, Zach, when you become a leader, you're thinking for people around you. You got men under you. And I still have some elders that raised me in prison that I'm under. So when they pass the torch and say, man, you running the junk now, this your junk. So you sitting at the table with old timers and y'all calling shots about how things will go in prison, and let's see what Fly want us to do about this. Let's see how Fly gonna handle it. And I wasn't thinking about going in the streets, Zach. To be honest with you, I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna die in jail. I'm through. So you got women coming to see you, and you know what I mean, I'm making babies in jail, and so I got some high profile lawyers that's telling me we're gonna get you out, man. You gotta slow down. This is a lawyer who got when I supposed to came home, Kenneth Money, same one representing Marion Burr. Uh Sometimes Zach, you feel like, man, you damn if you do, you damn if you don't. You know what I mean? But my mother, she used to say, "Damn, won't you find you a chair, sit your ass down somewhere, say you come out here every time you turn around, you just stab somebody and got locked up, or they sending you back to the Fed." So, make a long story short, young brother, I got caught up on my own power. You know what I mean? And what did I tell you earlier when I asked you a question? I say, why is it that when the black man get power and start leading people, the government come after? The government say we can't let this dude come in the street. So in 1988, Zach, I came back to Lawton. That's when Rayford was rich, was running the city. A lot of my friends was rich. And they saying, Slim, you come home this time. We got you. You got judges, you got lawyers. And I'm seeing money that I never seen in my life before that. I'm paying people rent, I'm buying cars, I'm taking care of my women, my children, my grandkids. And once the FBI became aware of who I was and me running the prison, because the assistant director who used to send me to the Fed moved up. He mad because I came back in '88. He said, "You gotta get this, Biddy." And I'm sick with this power by this time, Zach. You know, I got the staff telling me, "So hell, man, you going home this time. We gonna get you out this time." I had never seen this type of money, Zach. And I got some young dudes under me, cousins, family, friends, young dudes I'm meeting. Some of my buddies on the street, they lieutenants that was in, and they say, "Hey man, get my men. They gonna be with you in there." And they teaching me. They teaching me how I go, how the operation is in the society, how they function, how they deal with this, that, and you know. So I had to incorporate all that with my organization in prison. And I told you I came back in '88. So in '91, the FBI heard about me through something this stupid dude did. Told police somebody shot in the cell. And social director say, "Ain't nobody do that, but he the only one got that type of heart and got enough sense to bring a pistol in there. But I ain't stupid enough to shoot nobody in the cell. I would use a pistol to get out." But the dude trying to get a lawsuit, he got drunk, Zach. And the cell partner told him, said, "You can't do that, man. You gonna bring heat in the jump." So he can't. He said, "Fly, he gonna stick a nail in his leg where he got a bullet. He gonna tell people." So I said, "Man, don't go do that." But he did it anyway. They locked the whole prison down. FBI came in there. So when they said ain't nobody, I cussed the FBI out. He said, "I'm gonna get you." Well, from '88, no, from '91, '92, '93, '94, he came after me every year. Trying, don't nobody tell. But I'm getting larger and bigger in the drug game. And my name is ringing in prison, on the street. You know what I mean? And 1994, they put me on a private jet and sent me back to the Fed. And they say, man, we got to indict this dude. So in 95, they indicted me for running a continued criminal enterprise, a large drug ring. They said I had people killed, I had people hit, said I ran a multi-million dollars, and they gave me life with no parole. Said I'd never get out again. Then my sister joined some organizations to get me out to prove that they set me up, and they locked her up to get her out the way. So what do I do, Zach? Do I give up or do I keep fighting? I gotta keep fighting. And I think I have a wealth of knowledge now how prison go. But I was so crushed that they locked my sister up, who was my best friend, Zach. And I say, gotta get her out. And then, Zach, I learned the government is so vicious. They told my sister, if you don't become a government informant, we gonna go lock your mother up. My mother is a church woman. She been fighting all these years to get me out. Now they got her daughter locked up. And then she heard they gonna lock her. She panicked, got scared, wrote Bill Clinton and everybody. I said, Mom, they not gonna lock you up. But they locked Rafe and his mother up, and his grandmother and them up, so she's scared. So when they locked my sister up, I wrote the judge. I said, y'all gonna give me the death penalty, kill me, and let my sister go. She ain't had nothing. I'm ready to die. Kill me. If y'all hate me that much, give me the death penalty. They said, we just can't give you the death penalty like that. You know what I mean? So I made up my mind, Zach. I said, I'm gonna fight these people. I'm gonna learn law. I gotta get my sister out. And man, by me being back in the feds, I'm meeting billionaires now. Willie Falcone, billionaires from Colombia, different people. And I'm meeting dudes from St. Louis and Chicago that know law. You know what I mean? Cause I always had buddies from St. Louis, Kansas City, New York, Philly. I always, everybody that's somebody from wherever they from, dudes gonna hook up. If it ain't no more than saluting each other. That's why I tell you about Garden Rush Bay. I was St. Louis. He raised me when I was young in Terre Haute. Him and Sugar Bear Jones here. So anyway, my reputation preceded me because everybody knew who I was anyway. You know what I mean? So my homie names, man, our OG back. I'm an OG now. Our OG back. So I'm fighting the case, Zach. I'm meeting people, and people's telling me, man, what you gotta do, they ain't got you right. They can't give you life for that. They ain't getting no drugs, no money. They gotta prove you ran a continued criminal enterprise. Then I met Larry, who was lieutenant, and Larry, who was Lieutenant Shorty G. Say, man, take our case and look at what we did. And the brother out of Chicago went in the law library, man, and said, file this right here. They shooting down everything I found. My homies that know law, they and in 2021, a white guy named Joseph Bradley out of Boston asked me could he read my legal stuff. So for what? He said, I can get you out. I said, man, I done tried everything. I know law. By this time, I'm a little jailhouse lawyer. I know enough about your case because everybody know about their own case. And he said, I can get you out, Fly. I just gave back 3 life sentences. I said, for real? He said, I just gave so-and-so's time back. He said, let me see your stuff. What you got to do? I gave him my stuff, Zach. He came back a week later and say, "Give me 2 writing pads, give me 4 ink pen. I need me a bag of coffee while I do this stuff." Came back a couple weeks later, he said, "File it." I said, "Nah, I can't put that in there." He said, "File it." I said, "I can't put that in there. You got people names and stuff. I can't tell on nobody." Because, I got stabbed by the ABs in 86. Two boy ABs stabbed. I took the knife from them. I had a contract out on it. And I got hit twice and I've been prison. I got hit twice, cut once. Ain't nobody alive to hit me, Zach. Exactly. So, he going back and forth, but this dude is a bad boy, man, with this law. I said, "Take that out." He said, "Fly lead." I said, "Man, I can't put that in there, because if I win the case, it's going to be in the computer in the law book that I name some names. I can't name nobody's names, of Joe." So Joe Bradley, I said, "Let me do my history, my background. I know my background." And we finally settled on what we are going to do. Send it to the court. A couple weeks later, the counsel said, "You got a legal call, man. Call this lawyer." The lawyer said, "The judge want to know where you want to live at." I said, "Boy, how?" She be coming out. I'm in ADX Supermax in Colorado. So I go up to SIP sales, Zach, and he standing at the bar. This is, "What's up, man?" I said, "Man, I'm going home." This man, get there. I said, "I just talked to the Lord." He said, "That's what you was on the phone running about?" I said, "Yeah." Zach, he started crying. He said, "Slim, you going in the street for real?" I said, "Man, I'm going home." I started crying, Zach. So I go back downstairs and I call home. I told my daughter. I said, "Babe, I'm coming home." She said, "For real, Dad?" I said, "I'm coming home, man." I said, "Call the lawyer so they can tell you." She called the lawyer, so now they coordinating how I'm come home, where I'm gonna live. So the government, yeah, not so fast. Yeah, read this guy's indictment. He had people stabbed. He put contracts out on people. He ran the whole D.C. Department of Correction. He had the warden, staff working for him. He married a sergeant. He made babies in jail. He had women bringing him drugs, smugglers. But he supposed to do that. But anytime, then they start writing magazines on his ass. Don Diva. There's 100 watching. So when they do your background, they talk about your whole criminal history. And they bring up your old cases, right? So while I'm waiting to come home, Zach, and these magazine stuff coming out, my best friend, who's writing in and taking care of me, say, "Y'all got YouTube? What is YouTube?" He trying to tell me that a dude out of Michigan is talking crazy about me on YouTube is slandering my name. I said, but he ain't tell me over the phone. He just kept saying, "Y'all can't see it." I said, "What is it? We ain't got no YouTube up here in Colorado." I said, "Why?" He said, "Don't worry about it." He's offended that this dude is talking about me and slandering my name. You know what I mean? So every time I call him, he say, "You sure y'all can't get YouTube?" Man, he's heated. But I found out him and a lot of people says, "Man, this dude saying all kinds of crazy stuff about me." So I get a letter from Eon and send me some pictures. I ain't seen Eon since he's 5 years old, since he's a little boy. His father was my man, and his mother was my. So I don't tell Eon I'm coming home. I told my daughter and my nephew, "Don't tell nobody I'm coming home." Got a lot of them is that. He's a man from 73. But I done punched a lot of dudes that. A lot of dudes don't like me. A lot of dudes scared of me. But I ain't aware of this internet. I ain't know nothing about no Instagram. I watch Judge Mass. I just see people on there say, I met her on Facebook. I don't even know what Facebook and YouTube is at. I'm telling you, I don't. I come in 73 Zach. We ain't had no cell phones. I had a cell phone in the Lord. No, I had a beeper. No, Zach. No, Zach. The government is fighting to keep me from coming home, man. So the judge ain't hearing none of it. The government had one last trick. They say, Your Honor, he never made parole off his DC time. But me and the guy got the light. So the judge said, I can't let him go until he make parole on his DC time. Because I've been refusing to see the parole board for 15 years. You know why is that? Because people say, don't go up for parole because they're going to keep giving you set-offs. Wait till you get that federalized sentence back. Because I always knew I was going to get it back, Zach. I always knew. I felt it. So I kept on denying to see the DC parole board because they keep setting me off. So my lawyers, two white females in Virginia, say you got to see the parole board. We're going to send you an application, put in to see the next parole board from DC. So the judge can let you come home. I fill it out. I tell the counsel, I want to see the next time parole board come up here from DC. Put me on the list. So my two white lawyers got me a black lawyer in DC to represent me on the parole board. Elmore Collar, bad sister. Pro-black, love brother. So she called me, Zach, and she said, this is what we got to do to prepare you for the parole board. I said, I know I represent myself. She said, man, just follow this, go along with how I want to do things. I said, I'm prepared for this. I said, I've been waiting for this all my life. But we get cool because she called me every week. We get a friendship. I see the parole board on my birthday, Zach. And the guy talked crazy to me. He said, they say you a leader of DC Blacks. I said, ain't nobody leader. I'm a Muslim. I said, I'm a mentor to these young guys. I'm educating these guys. I go to school. I got 58 classes from educators. I had to humble myself. You know what I mean? I had to sell myself to this guy, Zach. You can't come across arrogant or you can't come across like, you know what I mean? You have to humble yourself. I said, sir, I done lost my mother. My oldest daughter got killed. I said, I just lost two of my sisters. My sister, my best friend, just died. I said, man, my children need me. My grandchildren, I got grandchildren I never met. I say, but man, he said, you're a mentor to these. I said, I mentor these young guys because I don't want to see them follow the footsteps I'm at. I don't want these young guys to run their time up. He said, I was going to give you a set-off. He said, but I'm going to go ahead and parole you to your detainment. He don't know, Zach, once he paroled me to that detainment, I'm coming home. He think he going to parole me to a life with no parole and I'm being there the rest of my life. He don't even know I got a motion in court. Wait, you just following? So he said, I'm going to parole you to your other life sentence. I said, yeah, I'm still going to be doing life. He said, all right. As soon as he did that, the judge said, I'm going to let him go home. Zach, I'm coming in the street, man. I'm coming in the street. My family excited, so words started slipping out. So my best friend I told you, they kept asking about you. He said, man, you coming home? I said, don't tell nobody. He said, man, you gonna be out here with me, man. We've been knowing each other since 14 years old, juvenile. So the warden came to my cell, Zach, in July. The judge put the order in March 15th, 2022. 2022 March, the judge say, I'm releasing him to a halfway house. Find a halfway house to accept him in Virginia. So my lawyers is trying to find out what part of Virginia I'm gonna go to. And I'm pressing the warden every week, man, when you gonna let me go? Y'all gotta find a halfway house. So in July, he say, the paperwork just came through, you leaving next week. Where you wanna go? Maryland, Virginia. I said, man, send me to Virginia. Silk started crying. Hoover, watered up. You know what I mean? Everybody, the flight you going home. He gave all my stuff away. My baby face, my son-in-law, sent him all my stuff. And I left in July, man, and it took me to a halfway house after I made the little stop in Love Spur. In July, man, I made it to the street. After 49 years in prison. I did 9 months in the halfway house and made 50 years. My man Eon drove down there to see me, gave me $1,000. First $1,000 I had since '94. I mean, in my hand. You know what I mean? I had money on the book. Took me to a 5-star restaurant. I said, man, you little Eon? And man, he has stuck with me ever since. My God brother, my best friend I told you about. So then I become aware of this YouTube stuff and this how people be on there talking crazy about you. But here's the things that, being honest with you. See, this internet is a monster. It's a blessing and it's a curse. Because people will say anything they want to say about you. And people don't know no better. They believe some of this stuff. They believe stuff. You know, and I can turn on YouTube right now and find out something about Beyonce or Simone Biles or anybody. But there's always some falsehood mixed in with the truth. You know what I mean? You can hear about a celebrity, Michael Jordan or Jay-Z or anybody. You can learn anything on YouTube, how to cook, about raise a dog. But when it comes to people like us and people with podcasts, you gonna have some haters. You gonna have some people that love you, support you. You gonna have some punks that can't stand you. You gonna have people like, but I get it. Everybody ain't gonna like it. And if this is somebody hustle, or if this is how people get their money, by lying, exact. They just said I had a husband. Exact. They said I was raping boys. And it said all kinds of stuff. But you have to have tough skin, because otherwise you'll go crazy believing that stuff. But here's the bad thing though. I got daughters, granddaughters. So when they hear certain, but my family, everybody was in jail with me know about my case and know what really happened. So people know you can't be a rapist in jail and think people gonna respect it. But if people know what really happened and people say, man, he was there, but you know what I mean? And the dude ain't no punk. The dude is a killer. You know what I mean? Yeah. But sometimes if you go on the cable, man, something happen, don't pose to happen. I could have took the 5 to 15 and came home in '76, but I probably would have been dead years ago. I probably got killed a year if I was home. Because my mindset at the time was I probably went out and started sticking up against that. I know I would have. I was still young, still had a lot of heart, still was crazy. You know what I mean? Love to fight. I would have went on there, would have killed me. But Allah knows this. Allah got a plan for all of us in our lifetime. Don't nobody know we gonna lead us ever but God. I had the ghost of everything. The only thing hurt me, young brother, is my mother didn't live to see me come home. My sister didn't live. My oldest daughter was killed. A lot of my aunts and uncles who took care of me and supported me is gone. My kids growed up, you know what I mean? But I'm free. I'm home, and I'm grateful. So let the haters hate. Let the haters hate. We gonna keep doing what we do. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying my life, man. You know, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity, man. I mean, you know, I appreciate what you're doing, man, and I hope good things happen for you. I hope good things happen for me, man. And one day I want to do a documentary, write my book about my life story. Then hopefully we can get it on the big screen. You know what I mean? So we gotta keep doing what we're doing, man. But I'm so thankful you wanted to do this with me. I appreciate you. We gotta stay in touch, man. And we gonna keep it moving. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to ask, like, when you was, behind the wall, like, who was some of the notorious names that you like met and came across while you was locked up?
Okay, let me tell you this, Zach. I'm glad you asked that. When I was growing up, I told you I started off in juvenile. You always hear about the guys came before you. So I told you about my friend Wilbur Cook, who was one of the best fighters. The generation before us was a guy come out my neighborhood named Pretty Willie. One of the baddest fighters, man. Used to punish Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard learned how to fight boxing with it. Percy Taylor, Black Papa, Dog McKinney. These are bad dudes with their hands I used to hear about. And Dog McKinney, he was so bad, he got in the ring with light heavyweight champion Ball Foster when he was overused some. Ball the champ came in. So Roughhouse, Cadillac Smith, Sonny Belly Ill, Madarak. I used to hear about all these tough dudes, and I used to say, you know what I used to say, Zach? I'm gonna be better than them. And my trainer, when I first got over Lorton, was Charlie Wise Day. We called him Hump. Bad dude. And Black Papa, Gerald Evans Day, who testified for me and my old co-defendant on that case. So Cadillac and Roughhouse was two of the most notorious dudes that ever came out of DC. And when they embraced me, Zach, see a guy that's legendary, they got a good eye to see somebody that's walking their same footsteps. So I told you, you pass the torch. You can't pass the torch to no fake dude or somebody that can't hold his own, or no flunky or no follower. But a man recognizes another man. A beast recognizes another beast. And the old lions move over for the young lions. You agree? So if you got a lion and he got his own tribe, and the young lion want to take over the tribe, he got to kill the king. You know what I mean? So either the lion gonna fight the young lion to his death, or he gotta lead the tribe and give it to the young lion. It's the same thing in life. You know what I mean? One of my favorite movies is The Hooligan. And Old Man Whisper told Bumpy Johnson, he said, "This is your time, Bumpy." And Bumpy told Dale Schultz, he said, "It's a new day." You ever see that movie?
Yeah, with Lawrence
Yeah,
Fishburne.
yeah.
Yeah,
I tell everybody I'm Whisper. I'm Old Man Whisper. I tell Eon, my daughter, and them that. I said, you know I'm Old Man Whisper. Because what was Whisper? Was the old, you know what I mean? And you have to have some backup eyes. And he didn't bump his ear. But it goes like this. You got to move out the way for the youngsters. If a young lion man is on the scene, you got to feed his growth. You don't step on his toes or you don't stun his growth. You feed his growth. So I come up under Earl Coleman Bay. I always talk about Big Lulu on my video because he come up with Cadillac, Rough House. He 80 years old, but I met him when I was 20, when he was a beast, and he watched me grow. We did work together, you know what I mean? And he always had a special affection for me, man, because he knew I was a youngster coming up. And you got to know how to hold your own, man. So all the fighters that I used to hear about, Zach, when I came to Lord, I wanted to get in the ring with him. I wanted, so Charlie Wise Bay put me in the ring with a dude I used to hear about, and I knocked him down 5 times first fight, and they stopped it. They said, "You're on your own now. This is your time." So I became the middleweight. It's in the magazines. I can send you the magazine. So, and they say I became the middleweight champion in Lodi. In 1981, Murad Muhammad, who's a box promoter, talked to the mayor of Burr, the warden in Lodi, the director, and said, I want to sign him to a professional contract so we could start a boxing program in Lodi like we got in Rahway, New Jersey with James Scott. James Scott was number 10 in the world. I signed a contract, me, Darren Reese, and Jack Johnson. We became the first 3 fighters to sign a professional contract in Lodi. Now, guys that been in Lodi came on the street and turned pro, but we turned pro in the prison. And they said, we're going to put him over in minimum security so he can go fight up Atlantic City on weekends. But he got to win so many fights. I was 11-0. 9 knockouts, 2 decisions. My 15th fight was going to be in NBC on Sports World to fight thing. I got stabbed after my 11th fight. The dude got killed. They killed my career. So I've always been known to be one of the best fighters in the North. And then, Zach, I became a trainer. And I had the best boxing team in Florida. Man, we was knocking everything up. We was the wrecking crew. We wore black T-shirts with the wrecking crew on it. We used to go out the gate to fight. So you can't be who I am with negative connotation or a bad stigma behind your name. But when people know who you are and what you did and who did what and how it happened, people don't care nothing about what that girl say Mike Tyson did. They know, you know what I mean? Went up there with Mike, and why you go up there with Mike? You know what I mean? They did is Tupac. But that don't justify, what happened. But I'm just saying, sometimes stuff don't happen the way people think. And then the government gonna mess it up any kind of way to get a conviction, and they gonna lie, they gonna smear it. But it is what it is. I had to live with it. It haunted me, Zach. I ain't gonna lie, 'cause just that being on my record, well, people know, and I overcame it. I gave it back. I'm in the street. God knows best.
When did you convert to Islam?
In 1995, a Muslim brother named Morris Salakhan got an organization, political organization, and we was at trial. When they gave me the continued criminal enterprise, it was me, a school teacher named Glenn Smith, who worked in Lawton, and the dude out of New York was one of my cell partners, was on indictment. They indicted 3 of us. They was indicted for conspiracy, and I was indicted for the leader of the continued criminal enterprise. And my sister told me at recess, she said, Dave, there's a Muslim brother back here named Morris Salakhan. He want to know if he can come visit you over to jail for a religious visit. But at the time, I'm still on fly time. I'm still, all right, what do you want? What do you want to come see me? He said, Muslim brother. But at the time, I ain't, I used to frown on Muslims. I don't. But he came to see me, Zach. And he had such an aura about him. And he said, man, we heard about you. He said, I work with Mumil Jamal, the brother who killed the police in Philly with that death penalty. He said, we worked on Terrence Johnson case. He said, man, there's some big people been talking about you. If you don't like what the government is doing to you, we want to know why they say you had so much power in prison to come after you. They say you ran a multi-million-dollar drug ring in prison, and your mother and your sister live in the projects. Where's the money? Where's they ain't got no drugs no more. Why are they? So I told him about my history. I said, man, I come up in jail, and people to start off with pride and moved up. Some of them got animosity against me. Some of them got ill feeling, and some of them love me and try to protect me. But the black people try to protect me, but the white people that hated me, because they was mad that a black guy got me to turn pro in prison. He said, why y'all doing all this behind this dude doing light? They said, man, get out, get out. We was the mayor and everybody signed off on. So anyway, I was so impressed with this brother's. He was so profound and prolific the way he presented himself and how he spoke about how they want to fight the government for doing this to people like me. He said, we need you in the street, man. We got to use your leadership. You need to come home to do some positive stuff. I went back to my cell, Zach, and I thought about this brother all day, all night. And he came back. I said, man, what I need to do to become a Muslim? He said, that's not my reason for coming to see you. I ain't come to correct you. I said, no, but I need to know what I need to do. He said, you need to take your shahada. He said, but you have to confess with your heart. You can't just, this ain't no sport, no game. This ain't no game. This is a way of life. I said, I want to take my shahada, man. And he gave him my shahada. And he spoke about Islam. And he was telling me about the pillars. He said, well, if you're serious about this, I'm going to send you all the literature you need, books and everything. I'm going to stick with you, brother. He said, and you have to have a name that fits your personality and your character. He said, I think Khalifa fits you. I said, oh, yeah. So my name is Khalifa Abdul Kwawi Mujahid. And is a meaning behind every name. So when I went back to Marion, he sent me my first Quran, all kinds of letters to study and read. And I had to tell everybody, I'm a Muslim now. They thought I was playing. They said, man, go ahead, fly. You think? I said, I'm serious. They said, you want to send a fiend book down there? I said, man, I'm serious. I ain't cursing no more. I don't want to watch none of that nasty stuff. Don't come around me with that. Because I ain't never smoked or drink coffee, none of that stuff. I ain't eat pork, nothing. Because I was a mo. But it's hard, Zach, because if you've been a certain way all your life and you had to start living a righteous life, you had to take baby steps to learn it. You had to learn how to pray. You had to learn how to fast. You had to learn how to make your prayers on time. You had to change your language. But anything I do, I'm in it to win it. I don't do stuff halfway. So I told my mother, my family, I say, I'm a Muslim now. You know your mother, boy, you still keep to me. I don't. I said, Mom, I'm serious. I can't call you Khalifa. You my son. I birthed you. I said, Mom, just try. I'm just gonna say my boys. I ain't. But I told my friends and my women and them, I said, I'm serious about this. People actually thought that I was scheming, trying to use this as another route to try to accomplish something. I said, no, I'm serious. I'm a Muslim. I'm really a Muslim. So I told my wife, go down to court, get the proper forms. I want to change my name legally to Khalifa Abdul Kwawi Mujahid. So went down to the Superior Court, signed all the forms, got my name legally changed. I said, now it's official. Y'all see I'm serious. I'm a Muslim. So in 1995, I became a Muslim. You know what I mean? And Zach, between me and you and God, this is why I'm in the street, because I prayed every day. I asked Allah to forgive me for all my sinful ways and the bad stuff I did. Because when you become a Muslim, you get a clean slate at life. It's like a rebirth. I ain't gonna lie, Zach. I admit I was vicious. I did some vicious stuff. I done hurt people. I done did stuff to people I shouldn't have did. I done beat people up. I done broke jaws. I done stabbed people. I done did all. But when you get a cleansing and you start learning God and how to talk to God, but have to be sincere in your faith. You know what I mean? And the most beautiful thing happened to me, Zach, when they had all the Muslims in Colorado that was terrorists from Middle East, and I got around there and they taught me how to pray and taught me how to worship God. I just knew, I said, Allah gonna bless me. I said, I'm going in the street. I talk to God every day. And I felt it, Zach. And then once my sister was released, she said, you coming home, babe, I'm gonna get you home. She said, you coming home. She died before I came home, Zach. But she told me, she said, you next, you coming home. And I said, I know it, babe, I'll be out there. She was marching down there with families in front of Obama, in front of, I had a petition in front of Obama. And man, she met other families, and man, she was marching. She wrote people all over. She met lawyers. She joined organizations against she can. She fought every day for me, Zach. But I became a Muslim in '95, man. This is Allah's will. This is God's will that me and you met. This is God's will that you wanted to reach out to me. Nothing happened by chance of accident. Everything happens God's plan. Why do you want to sit out and talk to this brother fly? Because God wanted us to do this. For whatever reason, we got to get this message out. Whoever it reach or whoever it help or who believe it or whoever want to support us, this is part of Allah's plan.
When did you meet Wayne Perry?
I heard about him in 1988. A friend of mine came to see me, millionaire, right? Millionaire, smooth brother, and he loved me and he taking care of me. He said, "Man, I'm throwing a birthday party." He said, "Man, they got this young such and such." He didn't call him the N-word. You know? He said, "Man," and he come to the party. He said, "I gotta make sure they keep the pistols outside because they're out here killing." He keep a rack of. Who is it? And he named it. I said, "Who is it?" He said, "A vicious young killer. It's crazy, but he loved me and I love him." I said, "Why they bring pistols to the party?" He said, "Because they killing, and that's what they do." He said, "But I don't want all them pistols in my parties. I'm gonna have somebody with." But they got the pistols in through the bathroom anyway. But anyway, that's when I first heard about him in '88. And I'm hearing more about him every week, every week, every week. And his reputation is wrong. And you got killers talking about it. So the young killers that I know is close to me and some of my men, they used to meet up. Nah, man, you can't do this. This house, we got this one. It was like in school, let me get this one. But they got this type of money out there because Rayford's running the city. He got all this money. So all these dudes that got money, but they keep talking about this dude they worried about. I say, he vicious like that? But I admire him. But when you got somebody just come out nowhere, Zach, and come out the woodwork and he cutting up like that. But I'm in Lawton now, so I'm right across the street. So he live right down the street from my sister, my older sister. My sister love him because my sister and his sister is friends. So my sister used to tell him about me. So my brother's a gangster. He said, I heard about. So when he got locked up, a brother came to see me. So Rock said, they just locked this dude up, Sip. I said, yeah. No, he didn't. They locked up Alpo. So the whole city talked. Whole city talking. So my brother say, they just locked Alpo up. Everybody want to see how long it's gonna take for they get Sip next. I said, yeah. Now I used to talk to Silk on the phone every week because one of his men, Black, is in the block with me in Lord. He said, Silk on the phone, Silk want to talk to you. So we talking on the phone. He said, what you need, man? I said, I'm all right, man. He said, stay out there. He's such a good dude. He love gangsters like I love gangsters. So people don't know we just talk on the phone. So my brother say, well, sure enough, you know what Apple did. He gave him up. So the whole city talked. They got him. You know, they showed on TV how they got him. Because soon they got Alpha, they said, give us Wayne Pearl. Same thing when they locked up people in law. They said, give us Fly. Give us Fly. We do something for you. They gave me a. And, but what I didn't know is that when he got locked up, people was telling him, Fly gonna get you if you come to Lord. Was a myth. But I don't know, so many people scared of him. They want somebody to get him. They terrified of this dude. I mean, they were so happy he got off the streets. I mean, they throw the party and everything. People come outside now. They can come out. People come on the strip now. The hustlers come back out because he was shaking down. But I didn't know that it was that vicious until he came in. Where people wanted somebody to get him. So they told a lie and told him that me and Whop and Lil Man made agreement. Whoever catch him first get him, which was a lie. He ain't no pump. He said, I ain't ducking nothing. If you go to Lawton, Fly gonna have you hit soon to get off the bus. Fly ain't having none of them dudes get away with nothing down there. I didn't know that. So when they sent me back to Mern in '94, he in Mern. And we on the tier together, but he ain't say nothing. He listened. And then when they separate us, I don't see him till we get to Colorado. He went first. But when they sent me to Colorado, when the Aaron brother who has killed my homies in Lewisburg, the director say, go lock up Wayne Perry and Khalid Mujahid. Lock them up now before they find out. Because they know me and Wayne was going to take it. So I see him in the hole. First time I laid eyes on him. I said, hey, man. I said, hey. I said, good to see you, man. Good to see you. So, man, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to talk to him. So he told me that. He said, man, you know they had a room out there. You supposed, I said, I ain't never said that to nobody. I said, man, I'm glad to see you. I said, man, we got to stick together. We at war with these ADs, right? I said, all the strong guys. I said, man, my sister love you. And I didn't know at the time till he told me. A dude beat my sister up and he took it in the middle of the street in broad daylight. Now, I remember my sister got beat up, but I didn't know he was the one who took it. I said, man, I'm forever grateful to you, man. Well, men automatically have automatic bonds if you're a man and you got heart and you ain't faking. And men don't test each other. You don't test another manhood or this. Ain't no big eyes towards you. You know what I mean? But it's a hierarchy. You agree? So he said, man, I'm glad to be around you, man. whatever you want done, we got her. I said, man, you know what we gotta do? They just kill our people. So was love at first sight, Zach. You know what I mean? And he cagey. Cagey, Zach. He's smart. But he listened. He's a student of the game, just like I'm a student of the game. I'm a professor now because I'm retired. You know what I mean? I'm old time. And we chopping it up, but we learning each other. We studying each other. But I'm letting him know our main concern is not losing another homie while we're at war with these AD. And he ready to go at the drop of a hat. He ain't playing. So we trying to get him to become a Muslim. Yeah, I'm a Mo. Same way they used to do me. I said, man, you gotta take your shahada, man. Now you gotta come back to the Mo. That's what he's telling me. And they split us up when we was on the yard. We was come outside together. They split us up, and I didn't see him again for years later. Because while we were split up, they sent him to a state joint in Washington State, and he got caught up in some race ride up there, and they brought him back. And when they brought him back, they got me over in the unit with Hoover in there, or the old man unit. That's the unit where you supposed to die there. It's called the old man unit. Dude got so much time, you never supposed to leave Colorado. So they brought him back from the state joint. They tried to play divide and conquer. They said, we're going to put you over there with the old man, who's the leader. He said, but if he don't want you to come over there, you can't come. They trying to see if I'm going to say he can't come around me, right? And somebody lied, said he had my daughter killed. They said, we can't put it around because somebody said you had something to do with killing his daughter. We know who killed my daughter. Her best friend killed her. So they come over there. And see, I'm telling you the games they play, Zach. If I would have said, no, he can't come over here, then it would have been out that I kept Sif from coming around me. See my point? See the games they play? So he told my son, Babyface, and he said, man, they just said they going over there to ask Fly if I can move over there. He said, I'm gone. I'm out to pack my stuff because you know he going to say, bring them. So they said, the warden, Soul's warden, Captain said, hey, man, we want to put Wayne Prey over here with you. I said, put him next door to me. Put him over here. It went back over and said, he said you can come. He said, I told you I was gone. Move it over there. I said, man, I'm so glad you're over here now. I said, I needed somebody over here with me. He said, I'm so glad to be around you, man. See, but let me say this to you. See, that's the games they play. Now, you see how they throw my daughter in there? They say, we want to move you over there with Khalif Ujahid because we know you the second in command. But we was told you had something to do with his daughter being murdered. And there's the game they play. When they came over to ask me, say, can we move his name Nkosi? His real name now is Nasir Nkosi Zulu. He had his name changed too once he became Muslim. So this is the mind game they crap. I said, you know that man ain't had nothing to do with my daughter getting killed. My daughter got killed when I was in Lawton in 1990. Her girlfriend killed her, best friend killed her, stabbed her in the chest. He ain't had nothing to do with that. So they said, well, can we bring him over? I said, yeah, bring him. Put him next door to me. And my family. So, man, we so happy to see y'all be around. So we trying to catch up. What's been going on when he was in the stage on? What's going on with him and Eon? I didn't know him and Eon was in touch. I didn't know he's called Eon. We catching up. Because he got to hear to the street. He hear everything. Just like I do. And our bond is growing and we building. Yeah. Hoover love him to death. Hoover love him. And he love Hoover. And you know what he told me one time, Zach? Years ago when I first got with him for this, he said, ain't but two people in this prison could tell me what to do or I listen to. And that's you and Larry Hoover. I said, you don't give a hourly talent that much? He said, man, I love the old man. But I didn't know it until I got around Hoover. I see why Silk loved him. Because the man is charismatic and he's a magnet. He pulled people to him. He's sharp, man. So anyway, man, me and Silk together every day. Eat together, work out together, walk together, go out in the side in the rain and snow. I said, I can't keep going out in that snow. Come on out here with me. You know what I mean? And we sharing our life story together. He's telling me everything he's done from his life. I'm telling him. Because when you hear about somebody, you know of them, but you don't know them. You hear lies, you hear rumors, you hear stories. But when you can get it from the source, how this happened, why this happened, why you do that. You know what I mean? And he made an agreement, man. We brothers for life. He my little brother. And this man looked me in my eye. That's cried, he say. I feel like I'm going home with you, man. I say, you are with me. I said, I ain't gonna be one of them dudes that say I'm a dude. I said, I ain't gotta do all that. Cause, dudes tell you that every day when they go home. I'm gonna stick with you. I'm gonna write you. You never hear from me. Some dudes, I'm gonna get you a lawyer. I done had dudes, I'm gonna get you a lawyer. Go home, you only get a stamp from me. You don't get a card and nothing. Cause I know who stuck with me. So I ain't got, plus I know his situation. I know where he at. I know he in that damn hellhole that's like a warehouse. I know it's, and I know how much he loved me. And man, his first phone call to me, I said, you better not start crying. He said, I ain't gonna cry. What you doing? What you eating? What you driving? You know what I mean? I said, I gotta get you out here, man. I said, what you gotta do is stay focused. And please don't kill nobody that since I'm gone. Cause if you do that, then we ain't be able to get you out. Cause dudes will test you. I say, stay focused so that I can get you out. I know this, Zach. If it's the law's will and they give this brother one more chance in life, people gonna be amazed. Cause that nobody thought I was getting out. My family, my children, my relatives, nobody thought I was getting out except my god brother, who's a pastor of the church in Baltimore. He said, you coming home. He a pastor. He stuck with him and my best friend I took. And my best friend told me, cool ill. He said, Slim, you coming home, man. Because people would know, man, I deserve another chance in life. I ain't deserve to die in jail, Zach. Zach, because I got a good heart and I'm a good dude. I'm a vicious dude, but I was a mean dude, Zach. But I told you, once I took my Shahada, Allah gave me a new leaf of life. He gave me a second chance. It's a rebirth. But you have to be sincere how you practice faith. You can't be no hypocrite. You know, but every day is a challenge, man. You know what I mean? So that's how I met Silk. He's still in touch with me. After Babyface came home, he sent word, tell Fly if Babyface home. If he home, he gotta get me out. I said, we working on it. We working on it. He's staying tough. He's still strong. You know what I mean? He's learned more about the deen now than I do because he still practices with Muslims every day. He's getting mad at me when I was in Colorado. I said, I ain't praying about it. Come on, pray, man. So I'm praying later on. Man, we praying now. People wouldn't believe he's the same person as he was when they heard about Sip. His whole mannerism changed. He feel bad about a lot of stuff he did. We talked about that. But you can't take it back. It is what it is. But I know how he feel about his life. And I know how he feel about the life he living there as a Muslim. And he told me, this is my word, he said, whatever you do, whenever anybody asks you about me, let them know I'm a Muslim and this is my life now. I don't glorify that other stuff. Judge me by who I am now. But he ain't ducking nothing. He know a lot of people scared of him. He know a lot of people don't like him. He know a lot of people mad at him. But he is who he is. You know what I mean? But he's a Muslim, Zach. This is his lifestyle. And God willing, he'll get out one day. And if he get out, it's going to be a ghost town. People going to leave. They're going to scatter. And a lot of people use his name and claim they this to him. He know about all that. He hear what's going on. He know what's happening. I make sure he hear what's happening.
This gonna be my last question, OG. I promise you. I don't want to hold you up
Okay.
too
Yeah,
long,
let me
man.
get out of here.
Yeah, but just the last thing I was gonna ask. What was like? How dangerous was the war between the DC blacks and the Aryan Brotherhood?
How dangerous was it? It was kill or be killed. Zach, see, I told you at the beginning of the interview, my co-defendant introduced me to Cadillac and Rough House. But I've been hearing about them guys since I was in the juvenile guy. These are legends in the city. I mean, they used to walk down the street and the street scattered. They had the same type of reputation me and Silk had. You know what I mean? People used to be scared of Lawton because of me. They used to tell their lawyers, I can't go to Lawton. I don't want to be there to do fly. People used to use my name in court just to keep from coming to Lawton. And people were so scared of Silk in the street. They used to be scared, man, that this dude gonna come looking for them. And me and him used to talk about that. He told me, he said, the same type of reputation you had in prison, that's the same type of reputation I had in the street. I said, yeah. So I come up on the Cadillac, Rough House, Charlie Wise Bay, Black Papa, Dog McKinney. These is guys that I looked up to. Sometimes you outgrow people. Sometimes your legacy outgrow other people's legacy. That's legendary, right? So when Cadillac got killed, it affected all of us. All the dudes come up with him, Earl Coleman Bay, Lulu, uh, uh, Al Malik, Farrakhan. All them dudes come up, they come up in Juvenile Jones together. 10 years before me, right? So when he get killed, it's just like when George Jackson got killed in San Quentin. Only different is the police killed George Jackson because he was such a powerful leader. Lack was such a powerful leader for DC because he represented us. When I came back, the administration said I came back on a mission to retaliate for Lack's murder. But that's not true. That wasn't my mindset. My mindset was to get back to DC and get out. But sometimes you be put into a position and you have to take a role where you have no choice but to leave. So one of my little co-defendants named Lil Man, who they said was my hitman on my Kingpin case, I used to tell him all the stories I'm telling you in Lawton. Yeah, this kept. He assumed and thought because I was back in the feds that we had to straighten this. I don't know. He got a young posse with him. He got dudes from Ohio, California, Detroit. Flies back, and this what Fly would expect us to do. But I ain't communicating with him, Zach. I ain't saying not right now. Because who I got with me on my side, I don't know if they will go with me like that. And you can't leave me over there because they got some ABs on my side. that's killers, right? So the ABs on my side is telling me, is everything cool, Fly? I said, we cool. We cool. Ain't no problem. And they got knives, Zach. I don't. Because I just got back. I got a little coward homie that go to the hole because he's scared to be over there with the AVs where he at. So he hit a dude in the head with a radio in front of the police so they can lock him up and get him out because he's scared to be over there with him. He sent word to Lil Man, y'all got to take off because they said they won't take off. He lying. Lil Man think this is what I expect him to do. They crushed every white dude in the yard, broke arms, jaws. So they locked the prison down. The AB Big Mac that's over top of me said, Fly, I'ma send you a kite. Put a kite on some yarn and throw it over till he put it in. He said, man, do you know what just happened on the other side? Because the police work with the ABs. Police been told Big Mac. Been a race rider on the other side. You and this dude downstairs are gonna have to stop before he get out of hand. So Big Mac said, Fly, we gonna have to go to the hole, man, and squash this before it get out to other joints and the race. But I don't know what's going on. He know, but I said, man, I ain't going no hole. He said, Fly, we gonna have to go to the hole, talk to your people. So once I found out what's going on, I got a homie, Big Ron, and Tony out of Baltimore. I said, we gonna have to kill somebody when the door's open. I said, cause they gonna try to make a move. Y'all watch yourself. I got a little dude out of Baltimore next door to me. I said, watch my back when we come out. I tell him what's going on. He gave the police a note and told him what we was going to do. He told him to lock him up because he was scared to go. He said, Lad next door just told me we were going to do this. He said, I'm scared, get me out of here. So they can't lock me in the AV up. Put him on tier with all the ABs and put me downstairs, the little man, all the brothers. They clapping, I said, Fly, you proud of us? I said, nah, because you left me out there by myself. I ain't know what was going to kill me, man, when the door's open. You supposed to touch base with me first, little man. You don't supposed to just take off like, I thought you wouldn't want me. I said, nah, you got to communicate that so we could choreograph it. We could have moved the same time. Man, I thought you want me. Man. I said, nah, man, we punish it. I said, yeah, y'all punish everybody. Ain't no black dude get hurt. But you can't leave me like that by myself out there, little man. You got to communicate that with me. So now, the ABs is organized. I'm pissed off for real, Zach. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm in a position where I don't have no choice. So I said, man, this is how we gotta care from now on. We gotta do this. Now remember, I left Ron and Tony upstairs. They take off. They punish some white dudes so they can come to hold with me. They say, hey, Slim, we took care. Once they take off, then white guys taking off. So it's a free for all because ain't no leadership. They locked me in the AB up. So guys are scared. It's a free for all. Every time the door's open, somebody getting hit. So the administration say I ordered it. I didn't, Zach. I ain't know. But it don't make no difference. I'm in it now. Somebody gotta leave. I said, man, from now on, this is what we're gonna do. We gotta care like this. So I sent word out there. I said to the homies that I knew, I said, y'all gotta take off, man. Cause I don't wanna see none of y'all get hit. I don't wanna lose none of y'all. So the administration said they gotta get me out of Maryland and send me to Colorado to get me out of there. But they've been wanting to send me to Colorado all the time. Because Barry Mills and all the ABs, the head ABs is there. They locked me up and send me to Colorado. So the warden say, welcome to Colorado ADX. You're not running up for here. This way you're going to die. I said, we'll see. I said, I ain't come here to run that. Put me on tier with Briar Mills and two of his men. What is the setup? Because when we go outside, they want to see us. We going to clash soon as the doors open. But Barry warned me. He said, they're up there behind the door in the window with the riot gear on. They think we're going to go to war so they can run out here and shoot us with the rubber bullets. I said, we ain't at war. I ain't ordered that in Maryland, Brack. He said, man, we got to worry about Big Mac that you was on your way. And I said, I ain't ordered that. So, if I ordered it or not, Briar's second in command, TD, sent word to Lewisburg that the war was back on from the Cadillac thing. And I'm back in the system and it take off. And they kill John the Bay Abdul Salam and stabbed my son-in-law Titus, who is Silk's partner. So the director called up to Colorado and said, hurry up and lock me and Silk up before we get word and take Abdul Shakur, who was the imam. That's his co-defendant, John the Bay, who got killed. Oh, harmless homie, man. Oh, all he do is referee games. He ain't no violent dude, you know what I mean? But they wanted to get whoever they could get to send us the messages back home. Overkilled him, man. Overkilled him. And I just, so me, Abdul Shakur, and Silk in the hole. So once we say, hey, man, what happened? I said, man, they just killed. I said, yeah. And your son-in-law, Titus, who got a daughter by my daughter. I said, yeah. I said, man, this is on for life. You know what I mean? So at the time, Colorado, your whole tier go out together. This boy put the dog cages. And dudes getting stabbed with toothbrushes and ink pens, and dudes is making plexiglass knives, and they want to get me. So they got separation of all DC and all Aaron Brotherhood. My little homie who sent the letter to the little man to take off, he came to Colorado with him. I'm going to give him. But they kept him away from me. All my homies, all the young dudes your age and young dudes as young warriors, every time they go out there and walk, they punching stuff. They let my little homie go outside with some of the ABs, and guess what he did? Ran around the yard screaming, he ain't fight back or nothing, Zach. Zach, you gotta fight back. If you just fight him till the police run out there and get you, if you die, you gotta fight back. He started this whole thing and go outside and holler and ran when they chased him. So we put word out, he got to get whoever get around him, get him. But when some life is lost, Zach, it ain't no more compromising, no more talking, ain't no more, man, we trying to squash you. So the government filed a RICO Act against the ABs and tried to get in the death penalty for all the murders they've been committing. So the ADs had their lawyer try to send for me to come to court so they can kill me in the county jail and try to get Silk too. So they playing con. They say, man, Barry say, man, you'll be an excellent witness for him, man. We need you to come to court to help him get in the death penalty. I said, I wish y'all luck, but I ain't come to court to help him. Why should I come to court to help him from killing all these brothers and black people? I said, I'll be a traitor to my people. So me and Silk said, don't write us no more. But we had already got word they was trying to send for us so they could kill us in the jail. because that's their home base. Then it came out on the stand. You can ask Eon, we got the transcript. I can send it came out on the stand by the rats that the order was whoever killed Fly, that would be like getting the trophy. So the black lawyer who's representing the AB named Chris. So the rat said, Gato, he said, man, this Crispin Gibson lawyer said, do you know Fly's professional fighter to take more than one of y'all to kill him? He said, we know about him. We here to him. We know he can fight. We know he's a pro fighter. We know he's dangerous. So all this came out on the stand. So some other lawyers is writing me. So they say, what you have to do is make sure no white dude get killed and none of your homies say you gave that order because they gonna try to get you the death penalty. Man, it was vicious. That's how serious it got. You know what I mean? So they beat the death penalty part and they gave them more life sentence. So when Chris and them came back, they want to talk to me and Silk. Silk a little mean than me. He said, I ain't got nothing to say, you punks. He said, you know what I'm gonna do when I see you? Cut your head off. Can we talk to you, Fly? Say about what? You know what I mean? What is it? If they kill you, Zach, what they gonna talk to me about? What I'm gonna talk to them about? So that's how serious it is. Now that I'm in the street, well, Bird died. Tommy Silverstein died. They died from hepatitis and all that. I'm healthier than a bull. I ain't never all it. I don't know the temperature in the federal system now about the DC blacks and Aaron Brewer. I don't know. Because I was told since I've been home, a lot of them Aaron brothers who would start snitching, they get out of Colorado and they send them to the prison on the West Coast, Victorville and Atwater. Once you kill the head of the snake, what the snake ain't gonna do? What the snake gonna do? Gonna wither and die. So a lot of them dudes, man. Now I do know some of the guys as leaders that's from Colorado, or Glenn, Snell, they're in Colorado. They're old men now, Zach. They're old, they fat. Dang. But they always got young white dudes coming in that want to join. And in order to join, they got to put some work in. So, however long it's going to last, however it's going to turn out, I don't know. I know they're keeping Silk separated from all of them. Then you got a lot of my homies, man, they're scared. Them young dudes, they be on the phone and daddy. The dude named Fly here talking about we got to be with them just to get separation from her. The police come say, you know they just talk about you on the phone. What I do now? God say you talking about the war still on and what they gonna do if we get out together. I done had some young dudes tell me to my face and I respect that. Say, lie. I ain't got but 10 years. I ain't trying to die. I ain't trying to stab nobody. I'll fight, but I ain't trying to kill nobody. I say, man, don't be out there then because they ain't fighting, they killing. I mean, but I respect them. At least it wasn't faking. It's like, I ain't trying to catch no more time. I don't want nobody to kill me. I'm trying to go home. I said, well, go home, man. I ain't asking you to do nothing you don't want to do. Zach, that is a world away from the real world. And that Colorado is vicious. There's no prison in the world like it's that. You could be there 20 years and we might not never see each other. They could say, Zach down in Eastern. Yeah. The only way we might see each other if we wind up in the hole together. If you go to hole for something, and some dudes was, I said, send word to Zach. Tell him to throw his tray at the police so he can go to the hole so I can meet him in the hole so we could talk. So I could see him. That's the only way we see each other. You could be there 20, 25, 30 years and I never see you, Zach. This is jump, man.
Well, Fly, man, it's been an honor, man. It's been an honor and a privilege to sit down with you, man. I
Likewise,
thank
little
you for
bro.
coming to rap with me, man. What can we expect from you, man? Come in the future.
Well, my plan is to get me a gym so I could train me some young guys. I want to start get these youngsters off the street, man. They're killing themselves for no reason, man. You know, they get a gun and say, I want to kill somebody, see what it feel like. They killing women for dogs, French bulldogs, and they don't want no money. If I can save a lot of my friends and relatives keep saying, man, my grandson mad, I won't train him. I was training one. I want to train me some young dudes now. I want to live by curse through some young dudes to be a champion. I want to give me some champions, man. I love that game so much. And everybody know me, know how I love it. They know how I could fight. They know how I was training in the Lord. So I want to get me a gym. Gotta get my book done. Man, I gotta get this book done. And God willing, before I leave this earth, man, we can get my life story on the screen so when I'm gone, people can still see me and hear about me and who I am, and who I became, and how I came out here.
Well,
That's
Fly,
the
man.
plan.
Like I
And
said,
God willing, you might be a part of it one day.
yeah, you know what I'm
You
saying.
know
That's
what I
why I
mean?
want to do this to help, get that story out there,
We're gonna get
man.
it out.
I appreciate you sitting down with me, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
May God be with you, young brother.